All systems are a go.
Hello, this is Madreas, and welcome to another episode of Uphill Climb Challenge. Today we'll be taking the 1972 Mercedes Benz 300 SEL 6.3 up the mountain to see how it handles against the competition. Now, this car came out in a Forza-thon as a reward, so it's a pretty interesting car. The one flaw that it does have, though, is that it is a bit on the heavy side. As you can see here, it's 4,000 pounds. So this thing's going to be a bit of a boat to get through the corners. Now, the livery that I have put on it is actually, it's based on an actual livery for the, I think it's actually from the 60s. Same basic car, but it's from the 60s. It's from the, I think it was some place in South America, Argentina. And which was kind of, I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, it's not the right year, but the paint job and so the decals on it were too interesting not to, put on. So just kind of rolled with it. So enough of that. Let's get focused on getting this set up. And of course, I'm going to focus on shaving off as much weight as we can, because this is a heavy vehicle, very heavy vehicle. Now, do we want to put in a roll cage? I say yes. I will put slightly better brakes on. It jumps up quite a bit there. We are going to put it on rally suspension, which does shave off a little bit of weight. Now I can focus on strictly power. But I am going to try shaving off weight wherever I can. The exhaust is going to be a big place. Fuel system, not so much. You'd think that putting lighter parts in there. Throttle body, definitely. Guess this is a modern enough engine, simply because it doesn't have a carburetor. It has a throttle body, manifold, which is kind of interesting. Oh, pardon me. Bit of a late night show going on here. Give it a little bit of extra power. I mean, this thing is not going to be short on power. That is for sure. Valves. Yes, valves. Really don't get a whole lot by putting that on. I'm not too sure what the cooling does. It's probably better if you're doing a simulation. Doing simulation damage, because you don't want your engine to heat and blow up. But anyways, here we are. Top of A class, our Mercedes Benz 300 is ready to take on the mountain. And I'll see you there in just a moment. And here we are at the bottom of the mountain, ready to start our challenge. So let's get this vehicle down off the hill here and up to the starting line. I mean, sure, this car isn't exactly... I don't expect it to set any new records here, but one thing I love about this car is how mean that V8 sounds. Heck, if I could have fit bigger tires on this thing, I think this thing could have been a real contender. Alright, here we go. One thing that this thing definitely has is torque, as we saw on the stats. I think it had roughly 400 foot-pounds of torque compared to the 300 horsepower. At least that was one stat I saw. It might have changed before I finalized things, but anyway. This thing just has some wicked straight line speed. Well, it's doing a fairly good job here. For as big of and heavy of a vehicle this is, it's taking the track pretty well. And the brakes are good. That's always a good thing to see. Uh-oh! One around. Alright, well that wasn't good. A little too much on the throttle there. That's, as I said, that was one thing I was kind of worried about, was since it's riding on relatively thin tires compared to some of the other vehicles with putting this much power down on the ground. I figured that turns are going to be a big issue with this vehicle. So you can't put down too much power or the vehicle will be more than happy to throw itself around in a circle. Kick her down. Oh, jeez. Not exactly setting great skill here. Oh, man. That would have been a very expensive wreck. But to be honest with you, if I didn't have a car like this, I would not be taking it off-road. Heck, I probably would barely take it outside. So we're off to a pretty rough start at 2 minutes 48 seconds. Let's give this another try. So here we are at the starting line. One thing that this car definitely doesn't lack is great launch and great speed in a straight line. That's one thing that this thing has in spades. Cleared the water for the most part. Wow, we actually had a lot of grip through that turn there. A lot of grip indeed, holy smokes. Guess I was hitting the correct speed for that turn for this car, that's for sure. I do love this model of car, just it's probably one of the best years for Mercedes Benz. I love their classic cars. They've definitely put classy and classic. Alright, do a splashdown. Alright, a little throttle control there. We don't want to throw the car around for a loop. I feel like this vehicle would probably do better with a all-wheel drivetrain, simply because the tires are all the same size. But of course, that would definitely change the whole characteristic of this vehicle, but it definitely probably could benefit from the traction. Alright, around that turn there. It probably would, the weight probably wouldn't change all that much, as it was a very heavy car to begin with. But even for rear-wheel drive, it definitely gets the grip going on the dirt. That's one thing I am liking about this thing. And here we are, the last stretch. A little bit of a bounce there, but managed to recover it. 234. Alright, that's definitely improved from our first run. We'll see if it can improve our time any more. I'm going to hopefully aim for maybe 232. I think that'd be a doable time. We'll see here in our next try. And we're off. The speed gauges and all that are pretty interesting in this vehicle. The RPM gauge is that little tiny one in the center there, which I think is kind of funny. But here we go. Downshift. Went around that turn pretty smoothly, I have to say. And since we have so much torque, it's okay to leave the engine and leave the car in a higher gear, as it will have more than enough power to push itself along even at a higher gearing, so that's nice. And the brakes are good on this thing as well, which is very nice. Let's definitely make this car stop, which is important. There we go. Get this vehicle revving along. Along this double apex turn. Almost cleared the splashdown. Definitely riding second gear quite a bit in this car. Alright, here we go. Come on, Mercedes. Let's try to get it down, at least in the 232s. Almost got lost there for a second. .231, 232.6, I believe. All right. If I had another try, I probably could even get the car going faster, I believe. But I am impressed with this car. And I'd probably use it more often online. I might put it a little bit more on the power side, because that's one thing you will definitely see when playing online, is people like doing power over maneuverability. But besides that, I am very impressed with this car, and be very interested to see what the final times are. And speaking of that, I'll be right back with you in just a second after I do the analysis and give us our final standings. And here is our leaderboard for the Uphill Climb Challenge. The Mercedes Benz 300 is coming in 9th place with a time of 2 minutes 32 seconds .674 behind the Ford Deluxe Coupe at 2 minutes 32 seconds .138, and beating out the Porsche Cayenne Turbo, which came in at 2:32 seconds .2705. As down 5 seconds on the Dodge Dart GT, which is our leader, by about 6 seconds. Now, maybe if I was given a few more tries, I might have been able to squeeze out some more speed, maybe even get it down to the 31s, maybe fight for 6th place with the Toyota Celica, which was an interesting drive. I think the one thing that probably is the big thing that's holding back the Mercedes Benz is its weight. It is a bit of a heavy car, but it was built to be heavy as a luxury vehicle. So you have a bunch of insulation and all sorts of other things to make it so it's a comfortable ride. Although that big engine did help out quite a bit. The torque, the amazing torque that it had, managed to pull the vehicle up the hill quickly. It running on a little bit of smaller tires didn't help out too much. I mean, they weren't tiny, like what comes on the Subarus standard, but they weren't the biggest like the Dodge SS or the Charger, which had some of the biggest tires we had here. But overall, it's a good vehicle. I feel like that maybe if you were to make it into a four-wheel drive vehicle, you'd probably get more out of it. Well, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Uphill Climb Challenge.